And we are on to our final interview for the morning, and that is with you, Dr. Tshepo Mvulane Moloi, researcher at the Ali Mazrui Center for Higher Education at UJ. Assalamu alaikum to you. Welcome to the program. Dr. Moloi, can you hear me? Dr. Moloi, can you hear me? Assalamu alaikum, welcome.
Yes, I can hear you. Salam alaikum, Julie, and salam alaikum to the listeners.
Okay, nice to have you on the show. You are the final interview, so we're going to chat about a very important issue, and that is that the Department of Basic Education has come under fire from political parties despite an increase in the pass rate. Now, some of the parties said that the results were not a true state of education on the ground. This comes as MPs in the Portfolio Committee on Basic Education conducted an oversight visit to the Free State on Friday. The Free State topped all provinces with the highest pass rate. Your thoughts on the matter?
This is a very important topic, and given that the results came out last week, the first batch being on Wednesday, which was the IEB, Independent Education Board results for private schools, and then followed Thursday evening by the announcement of the senior certificate by the Minister of Basic Education. This is very, very important, and every year to this point, it's an opportunity for us to actually, rethink, remind ourselves about how bad the situation has been in the past 30 years, 28 years under a black government.
Okay, so Dr. Moloi, we have conflicting reports or messages coming through from different political parties. For example, the IFP are congratulating the Matric class of 2021 on this achievement. The DA also goes on to say that this was the first Matric cohort that experienced their full grade 11 in 12 years under the national lockdown conditions. However, there are other people, other politicians and parties saying that this is not the figures that's been published in the general public and the media is not a true state of the education on the ground. You are a researcher at the Ali Mazrui Center for Higher Education. How do you weigh in on the situation? And how worried are you regarding the matriculants going forward? Because just X amount will be absorbed in higher education in tertiary organizations. What's going to happen to the balance of these people?
Okay, so let's talk to statistics so that we don't waffle. Okay, first and foremost, what you have here is the students that's set for IEB. They basically have a pass rate of 98.339%. So that's almost 99%, almost, if you can say that. And for the GDE, they have a pass rate of 76.4%. Now, we know that we're a country of two nations.
Absolutely.
This is a speech given to us in 1998 by former President Thabo Mbeki. And again, in the two nations that we speak of, we don't speak of the first and second. We speak of the first world and the third world. Now, our school system is exactly that. The Independent Electoral Board predominantly is hosting basically private schools. That's the first world. And here the statistics are always, above the 90s. School has passed with a 95% average, so you have a minute class of those students who did not make bachelor's or couldn't qualify to go to varsity. On
And
the
Dr.
other,
Moloi, Dr. Moloi, what I do want to say here is that I don't even want to look at IEB because, as you've indicated, they are a minority. They belong to the class of haves. Let's look at a class of people that we're talking about here, the have-nots, the conditions of their schooling system,
okay,
bush schools,
okay,
schools without latrines, etc., etc., etc. Can we
okay,
truly expect them to come up with the type of marks and numbers where you can't even make the comparison with the IEB?
okay. All right. Let's pop the IEB and let's focus, as you say, on on GDE. Now, so much has been topic, and I'm just going to summarize. First
Sure.
and foremost, what we have here is 897, 163. These are the candidates that set for the National Senior Certificate. We only, those that said full time were 733, 198. Now, this is an increase of 23.6% from 2020. Now, I think talking stats is not going to be helpful, even though we need to keep stats in mind. But what is important is in the GDE group that we're speaking about, it has only achieved a 0.2% increase in terms of the pass rate from last year. Now, this is appalling. Okay, people are asking what is Angie Moshega's performance rate if we had to score her. She's been the Minister of Basic Education for 13 years, and we have not seen any improvement in terms of infrastructure, in terms of the structures that the schools that we're talking about are supposed to enjoy. And also, this also talks to the culture of the schools that we're talking about. If you don't have latrine toilets, like you say, if you don't have capacitated teachers who are qualified to teach, if you don't have infrastructure to support, in terms of resources that are needed, then of course we cannot expect miracles to happen. Okay, and again, if we look at the stats again, if Free State being at number one, at 82 something percent. Gauteng is sitting at number two in terms of performance. But we know that we are predominantly, these two are not as rural as your Limpopo, which is sitting at 66.1%. So already here we can see the demographics of what we are talking about in terms of challenges and areas that need grave attention. Okay? And,
okay, can we just stop there for a minute, if you don't mind? Let's take an ad break, and we will continue this train of thought right after, inshallah.
To something fresh. Listen to Salam Media.
In future, when you give me an interview to do like that guy from Turkey, I just assume he was from Turkey. You need to tell me he's from wherever.
Mud on his clothes.
That threw me off.
When he is cold,
I just
the hunger is worse, the nights are longer, and the pain is more severe. What if this was your child? The Al-Imdad Foundation's Global Winter Appeal allows you to make a difference for refugees, IDPs, and struggling communities in 21 countries globally.
Maybe the crime thing
Sponsor
as well,
a winter pack
but not
today
for that Shaheen.
for just
Let's get that
600
council
rand.
on the line.
Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243.
Yesterday that I was just like,
I just can't believe how
We are finally free of riba. It smells lovely.
Ja, with Yakina, man, you should stop all the riba, Hajo. Ach, this insurance price is going up again.
Oh, we are not free of riba,
Murphy's
Babu.
Law. Murphy's Law.
We have to have insurance, Hajo.
But you know what, Nasreen, shukr alhamdulillah, we still managed to pull
now, Babu.
Yeah, man, I do have a little yakin, but I wish there was a way to leave
So
all
that's
this
one thing, I mean, really. We've never
Florida,
dropped the ball
I
on the
can't
show.
handle this. The stench. It stinks.
Is that my underarms?
No, the riba stinks. Please find a way to stop this
I
riba
understand.
insurance.
Can we
Marvel.
stretch him a
Leaving
little if we do
insurance
run
is
over?
easier than you think. Call Amana IFS for all your personal and commercial Takaful needs. 0861
Okay, I'll just tell you when I go back with 7
Amana,
minutes to go.
Mariba for good. Amana IFS is a registered financial services provider. Reliable access to clean water could save thousands of lives each day.
Oh,
With proper
okay.
sanitation
After
and
I
easy
left.
access to fresh, clean water, communities can flourish. Our Thirst Relief Appeal provides clean water to communities in Asia, Africa, and the Middle East by building deep wells and providing sustainable water and hygiene solutions. A monthly donation of as little as
Restart the
700
telephone.
rand
You'll
will build
understand
a
what
well
I'm
for a
saying.
community in need. That's only 23 rand a day. Donate today.
Okay, so you want to restart the pieces
www.pennyappeal.org.za
and
or
the
call
telephones.
031 110 573. Penny Appeal. Small change, big difference.
Shimmer, sparkle, captivate. Nothing less than a masterpiece. Droplets of gold inspires precious design. Platinum bursts with intricate freshness. And every pure diamond becomes more than just a girl's best friend. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, where timeless dreams become a reality. Come to us. We tailor-make designer gold, platinum, and diamond jewelry. Trade in or remodel your old gold. Clad yourself with classy name-branded watches. We offer insurance valuation and freezer card calculation. Visit us at 534 Ridge Road, Overport, or call 031 208 9142. Voda Gold Gem Jewelers, manufacturers of fine gold and diamond jewelry.
Yeah, sure.
Rejuvenating
But
media
we've got
day
3
by
solids
day.
already.
This is Salam Media.
With 6 minutes to go before wrap-up time, let's hand over to Dr. Moloi to talk about the impact of the Matric results. The basic Minister of Education, 13 years in the job, is it time for her to go and get some fresh blood in the system? And of course, there's also the issue of money. Infrastructure is falling apart, so we need the resources to obviously prop it up. Over to you, Dr. Moloi. Welcome back. Assalamu alaikum to you.
Julie, before we jump up and down and speak about this topic, we need to take a moment to acknowledge the results that were published, that were made public. There was a court order which was basically challenging that they should not be published anymore.
Right.
And we need to acknowledge that AfriForum, and a Matric pupil, were part of the people that basically said, and also Mariola Media, they basically fought, put a legal action at the North Gauteng High Court to say nonsense. The public has a right to see what is happening, precisely because the taxpayer pays for government schools. So already this tells you that there was no confidence from the department, given that we're coming up from a pandemic, or we're still in a pandemic. And so they really thought they were really going to be embarrassed when these results come out. And pupils, shocked everybody by actually performing much better than what was anticipated. So this is important because it doesn't in any way tell us that there was any improvement from the department side, in the Department of Education.
I must say that we did touch on this issue last week with another guest regarding the call by the department to not publish the results, and their argument was the Poppy Act, protecting the personal information of these learners. And not for a minute did I view it from the point you've just made now. And finally, the nickel drops. Goodness me, you've really made a very, very important point there. Thank you for bringing it to our attention.
let me not steal the thunder of AfriForum and Anneli's piece and Anle's piece and Marlua Media, because what they said in their submission to the court was they cannot allow the Department of Education to misapply the law. Okay, so yeah, that's very important. Anyway,
Wow.
let's come back to what we are talking about now, the actual results. Firstly, Umalusi, which is basically the body that sets and monitors the standards for general and further education. You know, they make a point there. The CEO makes a point, Professor John Paul Mink. He says the results must not be the determining factor of success. They must not be used as an instrument to determine the success of any candidate that has written the matric exams. Now, this is fascinating because not only is he resigning at the end of the year, but we have seen no intervention in terms of the three things that I've mentioned: infrastructure, you know, of the schools that we're talking about, the very poor of the poor, with no latrine toilets, with no technology. We're in the fourth industrial revolution. We haven't seen their intervention, you know, at a noteworthy level. And so, again, I look at my colleague at UJ, Professor Mary Metcalf, who says, actually, we should start questioning what is the point of grading. Why do we even have to mark? Why do students have to go through a system where they must pass? We need to start having that conversation, because we're at a point now where the skills that students have coming out of, you know, 12 years of education, basic, and then tertiary, are questionable to where we are now with the demands of the economy. You know, so let me park and let you breathe.
I can't, well, what I question is, imagine if you didn't have exams and tests. Even though people are arguing that we are not upskilling our young people adequately for the real world. But if you don't have exams and tests, how are you going to gauge where the weak spots are, where this person needs to be possibly focusing on in terms of his or her skill sets, even though we're saying they don't come out with a skill set at the end of 12 years of GDE education.
Okay.
It's kind of almost a yardstick in terms of, okay, we believe this is where you possibly would be suitable to go into the hospitality industry, or whichever other industry we believe you suited for, based on these results that you are presenting.
Okay. First and foremost, let us keep in mind that the universities where these matriculants all apply to, they all want to enter into the university slots that are available for the different degrees. Let's keep in mind that the universities can only accept 30% of the matriculants that apply. So what happens to the 70%? You know, what are we saying? Are we saying, you know, that conversation, you know, is null and void? Are we saying that conversation is shifting the goalpost? So that's the first challenge you have. So
and unfortunately, Dr. Moloi, I'm so sorry to do this to you. It's 1 minute after 10 o'clock. And that was my key question for the interview this morning. If you will indulge us, can we pick up on this point, if you are available tomorrow, to continue this very important discussion?
Fair enough.
Okay, great. Nasreen will be in touch with you. I am sorry to cut you in mid-sentence, but unfortunately, that's the name of the game on live radio. We thank you for your time, and we look forward to chatting tomorrow, when you're available, to pick up on where we've left off. Assalamu alaikum to you. It is exactly 2 after 10 o'clock. Shukran to my producer and controller, Nasreen Naidu, to the rest of our valued listeners and viewers. Please don't forget the COVID protocols. Take care on the roads. Till tomorrow at the same time as always. Assalamu alaikum and khuda hafiz from me, Julie Ali.